So, looking forward to the next couple of years, what are some of the what are the biggest challenges that the city of Pittsburgh faces, and how does your experience as a business owner and also your experience as a teacher and your other endeavors, how does that help you um, be qualified to help the city move forward?
So I think as far as dealing with some of these challenges that we are going to be facing, so the largest challenge I see is a decrease in revenue. The city has received quite a bit of, we'll just call it COVID money. There's a couple different buckets, but I think for the general public, just calling it COVID money, they'll know those are one-time monies. And so it does give the city a surplus. And the city of Pittsburgh does have a fiscal sustainability ordinance, which basically is ensuring that we have a rainy day savings. I want to make sure that that is preserved and not tapped into unless it's really, really bad fiscally. Making sure, the last time in '08, there were a lot of layoffs and things that had to be done, not just in Pittsburgh, in many cities. We still have cities neighboring us that are still not open 5 days a week in all departments. So at a point, preserving jobs is really important, and making sure that the city maintains its level of service for its residents is a priority. So if we absolutely have to dip into the that emergency fund, so be it. But how can we do everything possible to avoid that last step? I know that there's talks about using certain funds to do investments. And for me, a rainy day fund needs to stay liquid. It needs to be exactly what it is. When it hits the fan, we now have funds so that we don't necessarily have to lay people off. We don't have to cut back services. We don't have to, close different city assets down. We can maintain those. So for me, I bring the lens of knowing when times get tough, how do you get creative? I've been criticized that government is not run like a business. Maybe that's part of the problem. It's not. And I think when people hear business, they think, you know, greedy. All you care about is the money and all that, and don't realize that that's not really what business is about. It's about using your resources efficiently and achieving your goals, and that's something that is important to me. The other challenge that I see the city facing is that we have a whole west side of town that doesn't really have a sense of, they don't may not feel like they're part of Pittsburgh. I have to apologize to those residents that they sometimes, when we run for office, it's who's more orange and black than the next person, right? Because of our what we call our pit pride and graduating from Pittsburgh High School, and that side of town may feel alienated because they're like, we're not part of that school district. We don't know what everything's going on. So how do we incorporate, the communities of San Marco, Oak Hills, Alves Ranch, all that, to make them feel like they are part of Pittsburgh, that they have something to add? And I would say if you've never had the opportunity to go to the historical museum, definitely that is something that you should do, to see and to experience the history that we have in Pittsburgh and why so many people who've been here through the years have so much pride. So again, the challenges are decreased revenue because as a recession rolls through, your property values will go down, so that's less property tax. Consumer spending will go down, so that's less um, um, sales tax. And then also the other decrease that we'll see, and I don't know how much it'll be, is from gas tax, because people are looking at other ways to get things done other than driving. So that decrease of revenue, and then also a growing side of town that's not necessarily uh, brought into the whole, Pitt Pride or the city of Pittsburgh, and they're feeling like, well, we're in the 94565 zip code, but we have different needs, different wants, and they absolutely do. So making sure that we look at all four corners of Pittsburgh and making sure that everybody has somebody that they can talk to, their needs. There's somebody to listen to it, but more importantly, that they're being addressed.
Great, great. Well, as the